Okay. So the email from Jan indicates that they have all the data, and it's just a matter of taking the data from his repository with the data from the university's repository, which is in a different format. The university, to my understanding, has a flag, a Boolean, on each of the curves saying whether or not it's from a standard or not, which I think is important. How do we best move forward then? Because I don't want the university to hold up a CycloneDX release. Any thoughts?
So what this means is basically that it would in the process would take longer, right? So that we could pull the data from there officially, right?
Yeah.
That would have an effect on the release. Yeah, but I mean, just one thought. I mean, you created a script, right, to pull the data from there. Yep. So that's available. Right? So it might solve one part of the issue, right? That there is that we don't just maintain the list by our own, but pull it from there.
Right. Yeah, theoretically I could you know, use that script as is, and then just compare the curves to what's in the university's repository. And if it's flagged as not being a standard, then I can just remove it from our list. The corner case is likely going to be, well, what happens when the university doesn't have that curve in their list? How do I know?
Yeah. From my opinion, just to think a little bit broader, even what Jan wrote there with there may be some not standardized names in there. Maybe we should then for the release should switch to just a string field and then having a reference to that, or maybe also to your script to be able to say, okay, there you get an idea how such a curve could look like, but don't make it an enum. So because we currently don't have a finite list and standardized list.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that would be one way to do it, I guess. Okay, so we're back to making the curve then a string field, and then just recommending the names from that one repository.
Yeah, I mean, we could still process the idea of, you know, merging that in and having an enum at some point, or like hosting a trusted entity, and then at some point, maybe in the next version, having this finite list and also a detailed list of what are actual standard names and whatnot. But to fix it for the current release, and you know, then that would be an option to just have a string field and recommend the repo.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Basil, what's your thought on that?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. So yeah, we have a string and then reference the repository there. I don't know. I mean, we also had this Mitra working group about inventory. I think that's a point we could actually also bring up there. If there is some interest from this group to have, or from Mitra maybe, to have in the future some authoritative list, right, of algorithms or curves. I mean, we didn't mention that yet there, but that's a possibility.
That would be, in my opinion, an ideal situation. Yeah. Yeah. If you'd like to present the challenge to them, and then, you know, the proposed solution in terms of being an authoritative source of curves names, or even if you wanted to invite them to the working group so we can talk about it, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, we had this week, right? No, this week or last week we had a call with them presenting CBOM basically, as we have it right now, and I think we had some quite good discussion there about some topics as well. I think the current state is there basically to plan what to do next, right? I mean, one option would be to sort of write like the white papers about the use cases of CBOM, right? But I think it's kind of open, right, for new suggestions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We always, I don't know if Basil still says anything.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I also mentioned a couple of times that people from there could join this call here, and also posted the invite link you sent in the Slack message, but unfortunately no one yet decided to join the call. So, but yeah.
Okay. How did the presentation to MITRE go? How was it received?
So it was more on the, I think, broad idea how we could tackle kind of safe migration with CBOM as part of software supply chain security, and how attestation and stuff could work to, you know, bring the dev view and the crypto assets actually in the operation side. And so it's not like maybe the utilization of CBOM, a broader picture, but actually it's a question where, as Basil mentioned, down to actually specific crypto problems, and how we can put that and describe that into CBOM. So I think in general it was good. I don't know if the actual idea of how we want to use CBOM, or why we want to use CBOM, you know, as part of software supply chain, why this idea is maybe good, was received on the other end. But just for describing crypto, I think it's pretty clear, and yeah, I mean, questions were there, and yeah, so I think it was good at the end. Just I will post also a link in the chat. This is actually, I think it's related to this Black Hat keynote you mentioned on LinkedIn. They published a repo for CodeQL queries and generating CBOMs there.
Yes, maybe before going to that, just adding something about the MITRE call. Yes, I think what was mostly the interest was about how to represent some crypto assets like algorithms. I think there's some good discussion there, like things that we also started when we kind of designed the schema, like questions like okay, you have an occurrence of SHA-1, which is a broken hash function, right? What does it mean, right? Can we add some context to it, that it's, for example, used in a use case that is still safe, right? We have kind of, that's the reason why we added dependencies. So I think that's quite good confirmation, right, for that. There was also some good discussion about one specific kind of primitive of crypto algorithms, hybrids. So hybrid is often kind of proposed to use for the migration to quantum safe, where we combine a classical algorithm with a quantum safe one, and then kind of have two keys that are combined to kind of have the quantum safe security and the classical security at the same time. And I think that's yeah. And then the question was kind of yeah, how to represent that, right? So we can, because it's kind of a collection. I mean, I just thought about it a bit about that, because it's kind of the combination of two algorithms that we want to express. We could kind of add a hybrid algorithm explicitly, but it's not always possible because it depends on how a protocol uses it. Yeah, I think that's quite a good discussion point there, also with the goal to kind of to avoid false positives. Say if a scanner identifies you have RSA and you have elliptic curves, and then if the conclusion is, you are not quantum safe because you use RSA, but it's not the case, right? Because you use it as a hybrid, so something like that. Yeah, I was just thinking about how to maybe address that use case, or that's a use case that we should probably think a bit about. So far, I think maybe the easiest way is to add one primitive type that is called hybrid to the crypto algorithms. And then using that, we could add, say, okay, it's a hybrid that depends on two algorithms, and this will give us the information and the context needed that it's RSA and quantum safe crypto used together. I think that would be kind of an easy solution. I would maybe still add for this release.
Okay.
You don't have to change. I mean, you just need to add one entry to the enum of crypto primitives.
Right.
That
sounds fairly simple. So you'd basically document all three then, right? Or
yeah,
or
it's basically three algorithms, so to say, because it's it's RSA, it's a quantum safe, plus it's the hybrid construction, right? Because it's also, there is a certain construction how you combine two algorithms. So I think it's good to be able to document all the three and to give the information that it's actually a combination of two algorithms.
Got it. Okay, that sounds fairly simple then. Okay. Are you going to submit a PR for that, or?
Yes, yeah, can do that there.
Okay.
And then yeah, for the guide, I think it's can add an example for that, how this can be used.
Right. Let's see. I remember where we left off.
Yeah, so Nicholas, he posted the link to the
yes,
the C-bomb, right? The other C-bomb example.
Yes, it was quite interesting that they use it. It was also interesting that they seem to extend the Python parser to match our C-bomb, but this C-bomb format. They already started doing that.
Yeah, it's interesting how suddenly it seems to have been catching on, right?
Yes. One additional thought I had just briefly, because I also currently involved in the software scanning and creating the C-bomb, and there is often the case that if you not be able to track all the important source code of key generation, then you maybe just be able to say that there is a key generation, but you don't know if it is a secret key, a private key, or a public key. And we only have those three enums as part of the list of related crypto materials. So what I currently do is I just say that type other, but I know it's actually a key. I just don't know it's a secret, public, or private key. And I don't want to provide false information, so I just put in other. But maybe we just want to have a key attribute there to be able to express that it's still a key, or I don't know. I wasn't not really sure what the best approach is there, because more like the key is if you want to say an abstract class of what the secret and private and public key is.
This would be just some random data, basically, right? That you would identify. So that's the use case.
Yeah, it's basically from the Java context, there's like these key generation factories that you can use, and you instantiate it with an algorithm, but you maybe not you trace this, that there is a key generation, but you don't know, or you don't see the call if there is a secret key or public or private key generation, which would be the second step. And maybe you don't want to report it just because it's an instantiation or a configuration for a possible key generation. I don't know. Debatable, I would say. But speaking broader, away from my example, I think there could be cases where you don't know if it's a secret, public, or private key, but you just know it's a kind of a key. Maybe, I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, you could. I mean, there's also, I think, the type nonce, which is also some random data that should only be used once. Okay.
Yeah.
It could be a nonce.
Okay, so do we want to then, let's see. Where's my, okay, so this is the area that you're talking about, Nicholas, right?
Sorry, I was mute. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, we've got nonce in there. Okay. Shared secret. Okay.
I'm not sure. Maybe.
I mean,
I think that would solve my problem in some way. If there's no problems with that. But I don't see any obvious problems.
I don't either. I mean, the other ones are just more specific.
Yeah, so you just added a new entry now, right? Or was there something, or is it renamed from something else? No.
No, it's a new entry. It's the key entry.
Looks good to me.
Okay.
Is that fine?
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yep. Okay. Does there anybody remember where we left off with the descriptions?
Yeah, the algorithm properties, they should be described. That's the last work I did there.
Okay, so this one's been updated. Yeah, okay. And
think-
we're gonna make this a string, right?
Yep. I would be my suggestion.
Okay. Oh, what was the name of that website again?
Something with STD. Are there neuromancer.sk something? Don't know if we want to link the website or the Git profile. I mean, the Git profile is related to a person. Don't know, the website seems to, but
Yeah, we could, are you thinking about doing the website? Is that what you prefer?
yeah, I don't know. Website is more intuitive if you just, search for a specific curve. But if you want to see a list of curves and maybe also, parse it from a computer point of view, then the GitHub is more interesting. But I don't know. What would be normally your go-to reference? Would it be some Git or would it be the official website?
I mean, we could always post both.
That's a good idea.
Let's see. Yeah, because this, let's see. Okay.
Yep, looks good.
That look okay?
Yes.
Need to. That. Okay. Did I end that with a period? No. Okay. All right. And okay. Yeah, I mean, in the future, we can always provide a separate enum that people could optionally use if they choose to. But I think this is good for now.
Yep, agree.
Okay. All right.
I think the description there is also up to date.
Typo.
Yeah. Okay. Um, somebody say that V9 was out?
I have no clue.
I think so, yeah.
I thought we had talked about that at one point in time.
I remember it too.
I think V9 is out.
Yeah, it's out according to Wikipedia. Okay.
Looks good.
Yeah, I think that looks good.
Just because we have it for every enum, I don't know if we want to have the discussion here, but I just still curious about this other and unknown. I use other a lot if the value is not in there, but if there's an unknown value, for me it's just blank, so I don't fill it out because it's optional in the JSON schema, just from
Right.
the scanner point of view. I don't know if that's, if that's the way to go, also from the SBOM side, then we maybe should apply it here too. Yeah, I don't know. Just because we put always there other and unknown.
Well, I think
the
other
idea
makes a
we
lot of-
had,
What's that? Go ahead.
I think the idea we had with unknown was if to indicate that, I mean, because it's optional fields, right? That this scanner can say, okay, there is a mode, but you don't know what it is. While if you leave it away, it might indicate that it doesn't apply, right?
But that's how I use other. If there's no way to represent the value I detected, then I use other.
But here then, I mean, other means that it's another mode that is not in the list that we have, right?
Okay, maybe we can postpone the discussion, but I still think it's a little bit confusing if we don't explain it what other than unknown in the context mean and how we want to treat it here. If we have both in there, because for me it's still not so clear, and I see this a lot. So
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, a description would be good for it. I agree.
The should probably I mean, I don't think we need to do it for all the enums, but things like this, I think, how we have the embedded markdown in terms of like, description for all these. We should probably do the same thing for this as well. I'm just thinking about how the documentation would look from an ECMA perspective, because it's going to be purely human readable.
Yeah. Is the description only human readable? Or like, because I see on our side that there is sometimes there will be a need for describing actually all the findings or all the things you have in your CBOM by some kind of tool, UI. And currently we have our own dictionary for some things to actually put in a description and also explain some values. And I feel we do the similar thing here now. We have the description for the fields, and then we also explain some values. Just thinking if the explanation of the values could be also in a way that is, but I think the markdown is already kind of machine readable, but you still have to, link those things together, the actual value and
and it's really
which bullet point.
unfortunate because JSON schema doesn't. Oh, there's a lot. I can complain about JSON schema all day long, but it doesn't allow you to provide a description of each one of the enums, which is kind of a big limitation. I mean, like XML schema, you can do that, but with JSON schema, you can't. So if you want to describe what the enums are, you actually have to do it up in this description, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But our workaround for that was to do it in Markdown, because when we're generating the documentation that's on the website, and in the near future, when we're generating the human readable documentation for ECMA, that will be converted into the bullet list, for example, that's necessary for display.
Yeah, no, that makes absolutely sense. I just thinking about if there's kind of a HTML thing we could wrap around those values that we explain, that it makes it easier for, if we get a description, to parse it from a computer machine perspective for each value, and not have to parse all the markdown and just
Right.
But yeah, maybe edge use case. But I think there is some
well, for the time being, you'll be able to parse the XML. That works. So yeah,
that's a good point. Yeah,
I mean, you can always use the XML because it's a lot more capable. Although I don't know how long the XML is going to, as a serialization format, is going to be around. There's been some talk about, in like Cyclone version 2, for example, eventually removing support for it and just moving to JSON.
And protobuf, or
protobuf
is that just
would still be there, but it would, the primary serialization format would be just JSON. So because protobuf is great for machine to machine stuff, but you don't share protobufs, right? So the only ones, well, right now we share either XML or JSONs with between suppliers and consumers. But we've been talking about potentially dropping XML, and we'll probably do a formal community feedback for that, because it's kind of a big decision.
Yeah.
So
yeah, makes sense.
Okay, so these I think we need to go back to and get descriptions of all these. Same for this, the padding scheme that is used for the, yeah.
Mhm. So I don't, maybe wait, I can maybe share this one here. Wait, yeah. Just wrap it in a JSON, because I can share the already existing dictionary that we did.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, it's how should I say? This is a dictionary that is generated by ChatGPT.
Oh, okay.
But because we used it for some demo and to show something in the UI, so maybe you can use it as a start point, but not as a I just have to save it somewhere. Did I save it? There you go. Can I share files in Zoom, or should I send it over Slack?
Yeah, you send it over Slack.
Okay.
What format is it in?
JSON.
Oh, okay, perfect.
There you go. Maybe it doesn't contain everything, but something. And things are a little bit mixed. So there are algorithms, there are modes.
Oh yeah. Okay.
We picked some things out for the demo, so yeah, not everything is covered, but
yeah. All right. Well, this will still be useful. Thank you. Oh yeah, you got the descriptions for the modes. Okay, or some of the modes anyway. Okay. Padding. Yep. Okay. Awesome. Thank you. I will use that. So, yeah, the continue work on the descriptions, fleshing out, in that would include like the enums. Oh, I mean, like the enums for padding and stuff are pretty self-explanatory. That example that you gave, it doesn't have crypto function in there, does it?
which example? Or do you mean the dictionary?
The dictionary. Let's
I
see.
think crypto functions are in there.
Oh, crypto function. Yeah. Okay. Key generation. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'll go through that and apply that to the descriptions in here. Is there anything, we've got just less than 20 minutes left. Is there anything that we want to use this time for other than descriptions? Is there anything that we need to really think through from a specification perspective?
Maybe one point we had the internal discussion for a use case for a code scanner, right? And there were some questions about evidence section, right, that we use to describe, right, where something was found, which line number. There was one specific question where we thought might make sense to check if there is a similar use case already. And this one was about basically if a scanner finds something like a crypto function, then you can indicate that with the line number, right? which is fine. But then if the scanner wants to give additional context, like for example, call stack trace, and not stack trace, but call trace, like this function was called, or this was called from there and from there. So yeah, if there is, I mean, first question is if that's a use case for CBOM, right? Or if it's possible to express something like that in the evidence. Or if we need to add field for that, but otherwise what you also have there is just additional context, right, where this information should be expressed.
That would actually be possible. So if you found like MD5 in your code, for example, you could actually describe the call stack of how you found it. That would be possible.
That's great. I think that's exactly the use case we had, right?
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. Is there an example in the guide? Or for that?
Is there an example in the guide?
Or somewhere, I mean.
Yes, we should have. Let's see. I'll just look at the test cases here. Valid evidence.
Call stack, there is.
Yeah, so here's your evidence. We'll ignore that. We'll ignore that. So if you've got like a component that you've identified, you'll supply the evidence, you can supply the call stack, and yeah.
Nice. That's perfect.
Perfect, yeah.
There's, I think, one change we're making to this. We're gonna make this possibly an array of arrays. So because you can have different ways to come into the call stack. So, but other than that, yeah, it should work as is.
Nice. Okay, so it's in 1.6 valid evidence, and I will look there. It's really good.
Yeah. And that might actually be listed in the authoritative guide to SBOM as well. I think it's listed in there. An example. But yeah, we try to have test cases for the entirety of the schema, so that we can actually validate it. I mean, we've got, I think, 500 or so tests, something like that. But this actually was introduced in 1.5, so it's already there. So it's actually in the IBM CBOM spec.
Nice.
No, I think the one that we had there was the 1.4, right?
Oh, was it?
In there, yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe not then.
Okay, but then that's great if we update to that. Then
yep.
It'll just work.
What's that?
No, then it will just work. It will just be supported.
Yeah. Very cool.
Okay. Anything else that we want to use this time for? Let's see. Does classical security level have a maximum or no?
No. I mean, yes, in practice there won't be. Yeah, but in theory it does need to have a maximum. No.
Right. Okay.
There is actually also something like perfect security. Not sure how to express that with a security level.
Perfect security?
Like there's this one-time pad, which has kind of information theoretic security. So there you don't really say it has a security level.
Ah. Is there anything that we need to add here? Or is it fine as is?
So
that's fine.
Yes, from my point of view too. I mean, played a lot around with scanners last time, so I don't miss any property.
Right. Was there any feature that we needed to come back to?
I mean, maybe the discussion about weaknesses is still in my mind, how to represent cryptographic weaknesses in
Right.
because VEX is not really appropriate as we discussed. But no, what is the other way to maybe do that?
Right.
But I don't know if that's part of the is that it's only in our hand for the CycloneDX spec, because I think WEX is a separate spec, or is it?
Yeah, but that only tells you things that you're really not exploitable to. It doesn't really cover weaknesses at all.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. Vex as written is very limited. Cyclone has a lot more capabilities than that. But it's still mostly around vulnerabilities. Which is very different than just being a weakness. Yeah, I remember that conversation.
I mean, you mentioned that there is an effort on like having evidence, not evidence in where you detect something, more than evidence in regards to regulations and attestations.
Yeah.
Maybe it could fit in there because I mean we think we try to detect weaknesses and also policy violation based on like policies, which should be evaluated on the CBOM schema. So,
Right.
but maybe one should separate weaknesses and policy violations and separate the evidence and different parts. I don't know if that should be in one or could be in one.
So our attestation support is basically done at this point. I posted a link in the Zoom chat for a blog article that was published yesterday by our team. And so go ahead, when you get a chance, go ahead and read through that. And you know, it's pretty flexible. You'll be able to attest to any standard you want to, whether it's like a NIST standard or PCI or some internal standard perhaps for your organization. So you'll be able to do this in a complete machine readable way.
Okay, it looks interesting, definitely. Yeah. So that makes absolutely sense. Just wondering from a more, thinking about the domain, if we should mix up weaknesses with this whole policy and regulation thing. It's the same technical mechanism to detect them, but maybe we should not express it in the same area. But I don't know.
Yeah.
But for for policies and
I
regulation.
think
That
that's
makes
going to
sense.
require a little bit more debate, personally. One potential out is that you know, all these things are basically a component anyway, right? And every component can have a threat model. You know, you define an external reference, you can specify a threat model. If that threat model is an OTM format, it means it's a machine readable JSON thing, and you can't express weaknesses in there. So there are other ways to do this. Whether or
Okay.
not we want to do it inside of Cyclone is, I think that's going to require a little bit more debate.
Yeah. Good. I was just thinking, is there a way that dependency track also do it in that way, or does it just put all the vulnerabilities into VEX?
Yeah, it only does the vulnerabilities. I mean, theoretically, it also supports CWEs, which are weaknesses, but only in the context of a vulnerability. It doesn't have the concept of just having threats or weaknesses. That's not something it currently does today.
Okay.
But from a dependency track perspective, they are introducing support for policies. Well, I mean, it already has policy support. They're introducing CEL, which is the CEL. It's the Common Expression Language. And you can, with CEL, you can basically create policies. For example, you could theoretically in the future create a policy where, you know, if a CBOM contained a cryptographic asset that used MD5 or SHA-1 or something, you could trigger a policy warning for that, right?
I mean, that makes absolutely sense. Just thinking about if you know, from dependency track perspective, if you then, you know, download this in SBOM or CBOM, you can represent all the vulnerabilities as part of in VEX. And, you know, where we have such analysis in a tool or in dependency track for crypto, we would not be able to express all the findings when we don't want to use VEX. So the detection makes sense.
I think the what would be really useful is to create a ticket over in dependency track to express what it is that we would like to have when analyzing a CBOM, right? What kind of risk do we want to show when we, you know, analyze a CBOM that's using triple DES, for example, right? We should probably show something. What is it though? And that way we can actually start fleshing out the use cases and you know, start implementing them. And the reason why I say maybe do it over there first is because that will actually dictate in some ways what we need to be able to express in Cyclone, especially on the weaknesses. Because if you are analyzing a CBOM on dependency track, right, you'd be able to flag triple DES or whatever. And when you go to then export that, which is also going to be Cyclone, what is it that we're exporting?
Yes, exactly. Yep, so, makes sense.
Okay.
We'll do that, put it on a list.
Okay. No, I think that would be an amazing feature for dependency track too. Because it's not just about vulnerabilities, right? It's about just highlighting risk.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
All right. Well, I know we're at the almost at the top of the hour. Any last minute things from you gentlemen?
Maybe just I will not be able to attend next week because I'm on holiday, and also the week after because I'm also
Yeah.
at
Right.
vacation. So I think I could wish you a good Christmas already.
Okay.
And
Well,
yeah,
have a great Christmas yourself. I'll
thanks.
still we'll still keep the one on for next week. If Basil can attend, that's great. If nobody attends, that's fine too. It'll give me an hour to kind of work on the spec, maybe descriptions and stuff like that. And then we'll reconvene in January.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, great.
All
I
right.
think next week still works for me.
Okay.
Yes, and then the week after I will be gone as well.
Yep. Likewise. I will be back. I might even take the first week of January off because my daughter is not in school that week, and yeah. So
Nice.
anyway,
That's good.
I'll talk to you all later. Have a great rest of your evening. Cheers.
You too. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye.
Bye.